Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name is Colette and this is a general read today for all Scorpios out there. It won't resonate with all Scorpios, but I'm hoping that it will resonate with some of you Scorpios out there for your Sun, Moon, Venus and Rising. If you don't know the placements of your Sun, Moon, Venus and Rising, then I will be putting a free website astrology chart in the description down below. If this doesn't resonate with you, you can check out the other signs, the Moon, Rising and Venus, to see whether or not that suits you better. So the cards I'm going to start off your reading for today, Scorpio, is the Namaste card by Tony Carmine Salerno. And this card is the card that fell out earlier today. I've put all the cards, I've laid all the cards out because I find it's taken up too much time to actually shuffle and do the reading at the same time as well. So I kind of meditate on the cards first and then lay them out. So this card you got here is the Sea of Blessings, and it says the universe is a projection from within you and you are a projection of the universe. You are a vast space and yet you are spaceless. You are a divine ocean of love, a sea of blessings. You are the wind of change that flows through life. So I'd say that this card is saying as within, so without. So what you are believing inside yourself is also what you are going to see outside of yourself. So recognize that you are a sea of blessings and all those blessings will come for you. The main part of your reading I'm going to be doing with the Greek Mythic Tarot, done by Juliet Sherman Burke and Liz Green together. And the first card that came out in this reading is the Queen of Wands. Now the Queen of Wands represents fire, creativity. She would be seen as a Leo, an Aries or a Sagittarius energy. But it is just an energy, and although it's a queen, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a female, because these energies can be both male and female. It just means that it's a more feminine quality than it is a masculine, more driven quality. This is more, the feminine energy is seen as being more passive and receptive, whereas the masculine energy is seen as being more active and driven. So that is basically the difference between the two energies. So in this card here, the Queen of Wands is saying that it's at the heart of your reading, from which everything else is kind of radiating out, shall we say. And she is a woman with a vision. She knows what she wants. She has a vision in her heart, and she will nurture that vision, however long it takes, and she can manifest her vision. She has that ability to be creative enough to bring that vision into the reality. Like I say, it can, for her, be something that she will nurture from a very early stage in her life. It can be something that is even forgotten about and remembered years and years later, but it's something that she has always held dear to her own heart. Very loyal in relationships, the Queen of Wands. So if she has a vision of a certain type of relationship that she wants, that's what she will try to manifest for herself and bring out into her life. Very protective. You can see with a lioness down here. She's very, yeah, very protective towards those that she cares for. She's also very, what's the word? Can't think of the word at the moment. She's very, I suppose, demanding in some ways of her loyalty. Very beautiful. Queen of Wands women are known as being very beautiful. That fiery, passionate energy. Gets things done. Doesn't just sit around. And unlike the lion, which you can see on her throne here, the lioness is the one that goes out there and gets the food and brings it back and feeds the cubs, and the lion is the one that sits around and doesn't really do an awful lot. So it's kind of saying, you know, that she is driven, purposeful. She wants to make things happen. And that's at the heart of the reading. And at the top of the reading, what's in your head and what you're aware of at the moment is the King of Cups, and it's reversed. Now there's another 3 cards here that are all reversed as well. So the bulk of this reading, the main part of this reading, is a reversed reading, and you have 3 Arcana cards here as well, which implies to me that is quite a important read in the sense of what it's trying to tell you is a long-lasting situation rather than something with just minor Arcana cards, which is kind of just day-to-day, weekly kind of thing. This is much more long-standing energy. So the King of Cups, in his upright position, the King of Cups would be seen as somebody who is emotionally mature. Emotionally, he's mastered his emotions. He knows what he's doing with his emotions, even though he may not necessarily want to own his own emotions, in the sense of, like, King of Cups is the wounded healer, and I think that's really what this is saying here, is that there is a wound here. There is somebody who's hurt somebody quite deeply, because this is reversed, and the King of Cups is the wounded healer. He's great at healing other people's problems, other people's wounds, but he's no good at healing his own. So it says to me that with the Queen of Wands here and the King of Cups above, we've got fire and water, and the water energy represents the Piscean, Cancer, Scorpio type of energy. And oh, by the way, before I forget, happy birthday to all you Scorpios out there. We've just moved into Scorpio season, so wishing you all the best for your birthdays. And this kind of represents the scorpionic, watery element. And it's saying here that I think on some level there is this deep wound. It's like there's something that this woman is aware of that she herself has not, and when I say she, I'm just saying she as the card is depicting it, rather than it just being a female. But this person here, this character, has not dealt with something, a deep wound, and possibly from something from the past as well, because of the fact that this is reversed. It could be something that she has only recently become aware of, that is still affecting her on a deep level. And another reason that I say that is because underneath this card we have the Wheel of Fortune, and the Wheel of Fortune, again, like I said earlier, is reversed. And the Wheel of Fortune is saying that there is something within that needs to be dealt with before this wheel can turn. Because it's up reversed, it's saying that the wheel isn't turning in the right direction. If it was this way, the wheel would be going in the right direction, but when you turn it upside down, the wheel goes backwards. So it's like there's something that needs to be looked into. There's something that needs to be resolved, something that needs to be acknowledged, because this is all inner stuff. It's like within the cave, and I always see these caves as being inner work that needs to be done, or subconscious things that we become aware of. And it is literally in the place of the subconscious. Where this card is actually placed is in the subconscious. It's underneath. It's what we're not so aware of. And so the fates, as they're known, these three fates, these three women around the side of the wheel, who kind of the thread of life that runs through everything. You've got the spinner, the weaver, and the old crone who cuts the thread at the end. It depicts kind of like, you know, the life thread. But this is saying that there is something deep, held deep within, that maybe isn't even being spoken about. Maybe this person has become aware of something that they need to resolve from their past. But it's not being dealt with yet. It's not being... And because it's not being dealt with, the wheel isn't being allowed to turn. The wheel is having to stay. It's stuck. It's kind of got to a place, or it's even kind of going backwards, slowly backwards, without resolving the problem and being able to move forward. Because where you really want to be is out here in the sunlight and in the warmth and you know, living life and enjoying life and having fun. But this card to me always depicts, especially when reversed, that there is something that's not allowing that to happen. Even though you may be living life, there still is part of you that feels in a shadow, like there's a shadow over it, something that's not something that's not allowing this person to be at the centre of their own world and create and manifest their own story, because something has got them stuck. And the next card that came out in the position of what's moving away and what is going into your past, although it's still hanging around, it's not completely left yet. There are still aspects of this card and this energy hanging about, and it came out reversed as well. And the Temperance card to me always says that there is a relationship that needs to be dealt with, because upright, Temperance can only ever exist within a relationship. She can only ever be a part of our awareness, shall we say, within a relationship, because what she talks about is the flow of relationships. And relationship doesn't have to be just like an intimate relationship with a lover. It can also be a relationship between brothers, sisters, father, mother, family, friends. But it's a relationship that needs to be dealt with, because something has stagnated here. And that's what this cup to me said, this card with these two cups here. It's like, this is the flow of a relationship. This is where it goes from one cup to the next and back again, and everything kind of flows and it's easy going. And if you think of something when it stops, like if a river stops flowing, it stagnates, and whatever is within that river will die. And that's really what this is saying here, that there is a situation here that if it doesn't get dealt with, this is going to be allowed to fester and stagnate, and possibly later on down the road cause more problems than it needs to if it was dealt with now. But because it's up that way and reversed, and because you've also got the Wheel of Fortune reversed, and because you've also got the King of Cups, the energy of not wanting to deal with emotions, the wounded healer, all reversed, I would say that this situation is quite a major issue. And if it doesn't get looked into, if it doesn't get resolved on some level, it will possibly cause more problems on a larger scale. Like more people will end up getting involved in this than need to be involved. So the energy you have moving in is the Hierophant, and again upside down. And the Hierophant is saying, if you look at this card, it is once again very cave-like, like the Wheel of Fortune here within the cave. It's all very inner work. It's all something that needs to be resolved inwardly before it can be put outwardly. And the Hierophant holds the scroll of wisdom in his hand, because he's saying here that there is more knowledge to be learned. There is more. There's a way of lighting your own way here as well, seeing the light, understanding, suddenly like becoming a realization of what is actually going on here, rather than just seeing it from your own perspective. It's also saying, like, you know, there is two sides, if you like, to this story, and the Hierophant is wanting you to look deeper, shall we say, into this particular situation. Hierophant to me is not like your typical Hierophant in most tarot decks. He doesn't reflect religion as such to me, or even like the Pope, or, you know, as in most traditional tarot. In this particular Greek mythic tarot, he is Chiron. If you don't know, if anybody, like, you know, how many of you out there, probably quite a lot of you out there by now, understand about Chiron and the wounded healer. He is Chiron, the wounded healer, and he does have this kind of, the King of Cups has this same kind of energy as this character here, who was wounded so badly that he couldn't heal his own wound, but he was the person, not the person, the satyr, the centaur that everybody turned to, but he hid himself away because he saw himself as being ugly and deformed, and he didn't want people to see his wound and his deformedness. So he would hide away, and people would go and search him out and listen to his wisdom, because he is very wise, the Hierophant. And the wisdom that he holds is not necessarily the wisdom of conventional, traditional kind of religious wisdom. It's more the wisdom of the heart, the wisdom of nature, the wisdom of the soul on a deeper level. And so that's what's moving in as the Temperance card moves out. So while I was doing the shuffling earlier, I've got 4 more cards that came out along with those cards, and so I'm going to put one on top of the King of Cups, and we have the 7 of Cups, and the 7 of Cups is about confusion. It's about needing to make a choice. Each of these cups here is being offered. Aphrodite is offering Psyche any of these cups. You're saying you can have any of these. Any of these is yours. All you have to do is just make that choice and I will give it to you. It's yours. There, just take it. A bit like a game show. Take a pick. Choose which cup you want. You know, you can see what's inside it after you've chosen it. But Psyche doesn't want any of those cups. Psyche wants what Psyche wants, and what Psyche wants is her vision, her happiness, her loyalty to the man that she loves, or the person that she loves, the love of her life. She wants Aphrodite to, and she is down here on her knees, literally pleading and begging with Aphrodite, the goddess of love, to return to her what she truly wants. And this is kind of vision of the Queen of Wands as well, that once she has kind of got this idea in her, this vision in her heart, she's very reluctant to let it go. And so, although she could have the option of any of these, and there is a lot of confusion around this, because if Aphrodite refuses to give her what she really wants, that vision in her heart, then she could lose all of it. She could lose everything. That is the trick here in many ways with the Seven of Cups, is there is a possibility of losing everything. It's a bit like a gamble in some ways. It's a bit like gambling with your vision. Do you stick with it, or do you take something else which may not be quite as fulfilling and satisfying, but are you going to get what you truly want if you don't take something else? So that's and it's come out over the top of the King of Cups as well. So I'd say that there is this confusion going on at the moment around this situation with this wounded healer, that may well be somebody who you've had a relationship with, you're in a relationship with, somebody who is a member of the family. But there is this need here for some clarity. And a gamble in many ways needs to be taken. The next card I'm going to put over the top of the Wheel of Fortune. And the card that we get come out with the Wheel of Fortune is the Five of Wands. And the Five of Wands is saying you need to face up to what you don't want to face up to, which I think is very appropriate, coming out with the Wheel of Fortune upside down and saying, you know, the wheel has become stuck, it's not moving in the direction you want it to move. And that is mostly because there's a situation here that nobody wants to, or this person is Queen, and possibly even this King of Cups here as well, doesn't want to face up to. There's a situation here where neither of them are wanting to look at what's going on within themselves, because the dragon kind of really represents our fears, our own worries, our in this particular card, Jason has to battle the dragon to win the fleece, and the fleece kind of represents the kind of transmutation of the self in many ways. It's like, you know, if you battle your own fears and you come out victorious by facing the kind of inner demons that you don't necessarily want to face, which is a bit like this card here, you know, having to go in and face the truth, which sometimes is not an easy thing to do. Most of the time, facing the truth is not an easy thing to do. There's, you know, something most of us don't want to do is go and face that truth. But that is kind of what this dragon is representing here, is a need to face that truth, to battle through it, and to win the golden fleece, in the sense of that it represents that transmutation of being somebody who is no longer afraid. It's like you face that darkness, you face that demon, you face that, you know, the biggest fear, the thing that you really don't want to face. And what happens? You become stronger because of it. You defeat the dragon. Like, I always kind of liken it to the monster under the bed that, you know, isn't really there, but as a child you're too scared to look under it just in case. So the monster gets even bigger and bigger and bigger in your head, until you get to the point where you don't even want to get into your bed, because because that monster is so huge now. And there comes a point where you have to kind of go, right, okay, I'm going to look under the bed and see if the monster is really there. And that's kind of what this card represents to me, that facing up to the situation that we don't necessarily want to deal with. Next card I'm going to lay on top of the Queen of Wands And we have another major arcana card that's come out here. And the major arcana card that's come out is the Emperor over the top of the Queen of Wands. And I would say on some level that this Emperor here, which is represented as Zeus, the king of gods in this particular deck, and has the ability to kind of, he holds the world in his hand and literally says, you know, that the world is in your hands. You have the ability to create, because the Emperor is a very masculine driven type of energy. Again, it doesn't have to be a man, it can be a woman that has very kind of driven purpose in life. And you know, he sits in this beautiful purple kind of robe, and purple always kind of indicates a higher mind, a higher, it's like relates to the amethyst, the higher mind, the higher knowledge, the kind of spiritual realm, the universe in many ways, you know, royalty, who are always being seen as chosen by the gods. And the Emperor has that kind of strong characteristics. He's a powerful character. You don't argue with the Emperor. You know, the Emperor is the ultimate, shall we say, in the divine masculine energy. And he has the ability here to create whatever it is that he wants to create. And over the top of the Queen of Wands, which is the only card in that reading that is up the right way, he's saying that that this vision that she holds, whatever this vision is, the Emperor can make it happen for her. But she has to have the willpower, if you like, to connect with this energy and to bring it out within herself, because she has that energy. She has the vision. Now she has to make it a part of her world, make it a reality in her world, and she has the capability to do that. She has that potential. The potential for her to do that is there. And also, interestingly enough, the king has this eagle that sits on his shoulder, and the eagle to me always manages to soar above, high above the earth, and look down and see the bigger picture. So it's saying look at the bigger picture, don't just look at the smaller day-to-day particulars, like, you know, see the larger picture. Don't get caught up in the myopic, you know. Look for the bigger, longer lasting picture here. Take yourself out of the mundane, rise above the mundane and look towards something bigger, look towards a bigger future, if you like. And the last card here I'm going to put over the top of the Hierophant. And we have the World, which is a fantastic card. And it says that if you look here, you have one body with both the male and the female. It's all about balancing up those energies. It's saying that within every male there is a female, within every female there is a male. And it's all about endings and beginnings. The cycles here, the snake, the Ouroboros, has his tail in his mouth, because he represents the fact that everything is in cycles, that there are no endings and no beginnings as such. They all just kind of one thing that just goes from start to end, and it just kind of like, you know, there's no real kind of awareness of this is an ending, this is where my new life begins, if you like. But this is saying that that is what is going to be happening. Once this situation is dealt with, this is what we can have, instead of having this kind of being kept in the dark with secrets and inner knowledge, and maybe not wanting to share these things, or maybe not wanting to feel as though you can talk about what you know and how important it is to you. We have the world, which is saying bring everything into balance. You have the, you know, the creativity, you have the sword of wisdom and knowledge, and you have the cup with your emotions, and you have the pentacles for your physical needs, your physical realm, and the Queen of Wands here with the Emperor as well. He's saying that that is all there as a potential. It's all there. I'll put the Queen of Wands in between. That her vision, whatever it is that she holds within her heart, and whatever it is that she is loyal to, she can bring it into and down to the grounded by making, you know, she can make it a part of her world. She can make her world a reality, her dream a reality, whatever it is that she has been focusing on. So I'm going to end your reading with the Ask and It Is Given cards by Esther and Jerry Hicks. I don't know if you've heard of Esther and Jerry Hicks. They channel an energy known as Abraham. I'm sure there's lots of you out there who have heard of Abraham and Esther and Jerry Hicks. If you haven't, then I suggest you look up Abraham Hicks. And yeah, he channeled like his own kind of philosophy and ideas of life. Very interesting, very awakening. And the card that we have here is I must be selfish enough to align with well-being. And I think that is possibly, you know, a really good message here for this character, because there is a feeling that they don't believe that they can achieve this because there's so many reversed cards here. So it's saying you must be selfish at this time, at this point in your life, that there is a need for you to be selfish, to put yourself first, and to make sure that what you want is what you achieve. And it says, if you are not selfish enough to deliberately align with the energy of your source, you have nothing to give anyway. Some worry that if they take too much of the pie, others will be left with nothing, while in reality, the pie expands in proportion to the vibrational requests of all of you. And I think this card is saying, like, this is the energy and the source energy, if you like. That if you can bring this energy out that is within yourself, then you can create that dream. And while I was shuffling, two of these cards fell out, so I decided that I would keep them both for you and read them both. And the next card is my desires and beliefs are only thoughts. My desires and beliefs are only thoughts. Your desires and beliefs are just thoughts. Ask and it is given. You ask through your attention, through your wanting, through your desire. That is the asking. Whether you desire it to happen or you desire it not to happen, you are asking. So basically it's saying that either way, asking for it to happen, asking for it not to happen, or believing that it's not going to happen, you are putting your attention into that and you are going to manifest it. And that's really, for me, a big message with this card as well, because he is, although he's not the magician, he does have that kind of concrete ability. He does manage to kind of manifest things into the concrete realm, if you like, by sheer force and willpower in some ways. So those are the messages that I have for you today, Scorpio. I do hope that it has helped in some way. If you are interested in a personal reading or a private reading, my email will be in the description down below. Like I said, this is just a general reading, so it's not going to resonate with all Scorpios out there. If you have enjoyed this reading, I would like you, or ask you please, to thumbs it up for me, tap on the bell and subscribe to my channel so that you will be able to get future readings. And I wish you all the best, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.